Hey guys, what is going on? This is Pantsar Dragon, and today we're going to be doing a video on the patch 6.19 and some of the changes that are going to be happening in this patch. As you probably saw in the title of this video, SORAKA nerfs are coming, RIP. And Kog'Maw is being reverted to his old self, which is really weird, and just some other things that are quite interesting to talk about, especially the SORAKA nerf that pisses me off. Also, this video is going to be sponsored by Pro Guides. Check them out for all your rank game needs. There's also a new chat feature if you need some help with League of Legends. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so the first champion we're going to be talking about is going to be Nivea. So Nivea's E's damage is going down at all ranks, as you can see. At rank 5 it's going down by 25 damage or 50 damage if you land your Q or R. So in my opinion this is somewhat of a big nerf, and it's just making her damage a little less impactful. Do I think she's still going to be played? Probably, but maybe not as much. And she's not the most popular champion right now, of course, but I think after these nerfs, pros and mid laners won't be playing her anymore, but your Nivea mains and one tricks will still be playing her. Now with this nerf, I think her win rate will go down by 1.5%, maybe 2%, but let's say 1.5%. I feel like it's a big part of her combo's damage going down, so that's why I devalue it, but she does still have her AP ratios, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. But next up is gonna be Aurelion Sol. So he is receiving a lot of changes happening to him. For instance, a math on his passive versus a nerf on his W. Basically, a little bit better late game, but his early game, his stars aren't going to be doing as much damage because this was the thing you would max out first. But it doesn't seem that way anymore as your passive now has the strength from your W, and so you might be maxing out Q again. And also, since you are leaving this at level 1, it's going to be costing 22 mana instead of 16. Or, well, if you're level 9 then 40 per second, but still. Well, actually at level 1 it's going to be a little bit more, but once you hit level 3 it's going to be the same, since when you have 2 points in your W it's going to cost 22, and now at level 1 it'll cost 22 mana. You guys get the idea. Now his E, I think you still get movement speed from it. Well, actually I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure, but now you can cast it anytime you're out of combat instead of building up that velocity, and just some quality of life buffs for it. So if the movement speed is going away, then he's going to get the lane a little bit slower, and of course roam a little bit worse. Overall, I think it is a nerf. Unless they keep the movement speed, then it's a buff, but I'm going to say it's removed. And overall, this champion in the previous patches is actually quite OP. I think he's one of the most OP mid laners at the moment. Hell, instead of banning Cassiopeia, I ban him now. Because, I don't know, I think he's fucking broken. His early game and mid game is so strong. His late game is strong as hell as well. So fuck yeah, I think this guy deserves a nerf, but this might be a little too extreme, who knows. But anyways, I think his win rate, it'll drop about 2%. But yeah, this champ, fuck this champ. If you guys are still in patch 6.18, I recommend playing him and abusing him. Speaking of Cassiopeia, she's actually getting a nerf in this patch. As you can see, her healing on her E has been overall nerfed to 22 hit points instead of 25 per E, and now it's more of a passive thing, so it goes by your level instead of based on how much ranks you have in the E. And yeah, this change is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty annoying to have a Cassiopeia healing 25 hit point and just having really good survivability, but now you gotta wait until you get some levels. But you know, she's still gonna be doing the same amount of damage, and it's just gonna be those clutch situations where she somehow lives with like 100 or 200 hit point and she won't win those duels. At least that's what I think. So I don't think too much of a change is gonna happen, but I think her win rate, it's gonna go down by 1%. Actually, let's go with 1.5%. I still feel like since her damage is still there, this win rate drop will be a little bit less. But yeah, let's just say 1.5%. Next up is going to be MUNDO. So goddamn, this champion is getting some buffs, who actually was really OP, I think, in the beginning of the season, but got some nerfs, and now he's getting some of it back. But is he really going to be good after this buff? I don't think so. Maybe like a 1% increase, but that's about it. Could be even lower. But I mean, he received the nerfs in 6.2, where the bonus AD at earlier ranks was a little bit less, and the ultimate cooldown on earlier levels was increased. So after that, he just kind of like disappeared. With this buff, I don't think he's gonna reappear, but there's a small chance. Next up is gonna be Kled. So when Kled is off his little dog thing, he now does 100% damage to minions and monsters. So, you know, wave clear or just doing something in the jungle is a little bit easier. And interestingly enough, his ultimate's range has been reduced from all levels. So the initiation range isn't going to be as hypey, and I don't really think he's OP at the moment, but you know, with all this buff and nerfs, I think his win rate is going to go down by 1.2%. I don't think the buff to his passive was a big deal, but the range nerf on his ultimate, that's going to be a little bit more walking before you use your ultimate, so that's time wasted. And I mean, when you're level 6 and it goes down from 5,000 to 3,500, well, that's kind of huge, is it not? So yeah, I think this is a pretty big nerf on his ultimate. Next up is going to be Kog'Maw, and they're reverting the changes that happened to him in the Marksman Season update. So there's no more Hyper Cannon Kog'Maw anymore. Instead, you just have the old Kog'Maw with an ultimate change. And basically what I see here is base attack speed increased. The attack speed growth is a little bit less, but no one gives a shit. And now his Q is giving me attack speed again. And finally his W's cooldown has been increased to 17, although the cooldown starts when you activate the ability rather than after the duration, so it's going to be up after 9 seconds. And now you have maximum % health damage that goes up to 6% instead of just 2%. So yeah, basically the old Kog'Maw, I think it's a nerf in general because no more Hyper Cannon, which is really good with the cheaper Wits End right now. And maybe you'll see the old Triforce Kog'Maw build. To be honest, you probably will see that, so that's going to be really interesting. But I'm going to say that his win rate will go down by 3%. Honestly, they're both completely somewhat different champions. Not really, but the W changes definitely affects team fights and how he's being played. It's honestly like a new champion sort of, but hey, who knows, he still might be really OP. Next up, they're nerfing a champion who gave me a lot of elo. Actually, wait a second, this is interesting. So what I read on the PB was a little bit harsher, but apparently they just reverted it or something. And it's just the earlier levels of our W being a little bit higher. But once you hit the mid game, it's gonna be, you know, basically the same. So laning phase a little bit more shitty, but mid game and late game still the same shit. Anyways, after this, I think her win rate will go down by about 2%, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit less. Honestly, I think I'll still play her after these nerfs, because they don't really seem too bad, and as long as I can keep healing my AD carry, you know, at some point during your laning phase, then I think I'm going to be good. But going all in with SORAKA and your AD carry might not be a good thing and you just want to kind of poke it out. But also this brings a change to the skill order where I have to max out W now, although I usually do that unless I want to like poke harder. But yeah, I'll have to see the win rates and see if she's still good and how much this change affected her. Alright, so next up is going to be Twitch. I found this nerf interesting. I thought he wasn't that OP, but apparently he is. I mean, I think Jinx is OP. I even think Jhin is still a little stronger than Twitch, but apparently he needs a little toning down, so they just took away some attack speed. Although it is only 20% attack speed. Actually, I didn't even know it gave him 70% attack speed. That's a shit ton. But yeah, that's about like 500 gold, about 2 daggers when you hit level 13, I think it is, so it does not affect his early game, which is fine. His mid game is a little bit less impactful, but I think that's alright, so 1% decrease on his win rate. Next up is going to be UDYR. Now this next buff is pretty interesting, so they're giving some damage to his ultimate, okay, R, whatever, but increasing the persistent effect damage by 35 at max rank and 15 at level 1. But they also lowered the duration of the fire shit coming out of him by 1 second, so, you know, the base damage of 1 R with the fire shit is actually going to be 200 damage instead of 250. But of course, if you have enough cooldown reduction and you rotate your stances properly, I'm pretty sure you can have it up forever. And that third proc is going to do 35 more damage, so that's pretty good. Before he got nerfed, it actually used to do 180 damage, but now it's going to be 20 more when he was OP. Now it's hard to say if this is a nerf or buff. I think it might be a buff, but I feel like his clear speed has been nerfed a bit, but I'm going to say this is a 1% increase on his win rate. I feel like this change is kind of fine as long as you can, you know, rotate your third procs correctly, and I don't think it affects his mid game or late game, to be honest. But that's going to be it on this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, if you want to see if my win rates were correct or not, there's going to be a video when the win rates update and we can see if I was wrong or correct. But anyways, if you guys did like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't, make sure to subscribe. Anyways, I am Panzer Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.